So the next thing I want to talk about is the first Star Wars game released in May 2018, the Star Wars version, Episode 3 Revenge of the Sith, PS2 and Xbox version. The movie itself came out, but the Episode 3 game I played the most was the DS game. My grandmother was forgotten in bed for almost 10 years, and she was not copied until she found and gave it to me. Since this type of game uses movie music, you can only play video game music that you deem appropriate, and avoid using the video clips included in the edit scenes. So overall, the Star Wars franchise is still my franchise, but I don't like it, but I'll explain the reason and get started as soon as possible. The original trilogy, the first trilogy, the sequel to the Rogue One trilogy, of course I love him more than anyone else, so I think it's not wrong, but it's actually very simple. To say that I love him will definitely hurt some people, which brings me a lot of happiness and pain. For these people, they had never seen anything like The Clone Wars, Solo or The Mandalorian. People who really think about Star Wars in discussion are very boring because you think about them. When most people talk about Star Wars, isn't it just me? To be honest, I ignore your thoughts on Star Wars, but no boring bastard has said anything new or interesting in the last 2 decades. This film expands on the mainstream debate, but if you narrow it down to cover me with 30 self-proclaimed films from The Last Jedi and the most recent Skywalker videos, you don't need an expert. You need to regularly educate damn rational people about Star Wars. Well, actually, brought one of these villains to the screen and repeated the same fatigue for 20 years. You are speaking the truth that you never understood, and the conversation you enjoyed before is dead. Of course, you have to add a disclaimer that you only talk about one specific type of people and then someone comes along, but I hate this man. Maybe it's not you, but maybe you met someone. If not, please stay away from this filthy place, otherwise you can usually be a happy person or end up being the person I talk to. Yes, people have their own tastes and opinions, everything should be fine. That is not to say that real fans like it all, this is nonsense, but some people don't know how boring you are. There is a 2-hour video mauling bad bastards and comics about Japanese children in their 40s. People should be able to talk about what they like without being intercepted. Here is linked to Plinkett. You haven't seen Plinkett. Well, this is my unpopular take on Star Wars. Return of the Jedi is my favourite, Empire is my least favourite trilogy, and I am part of it too. The only film with the lowest rating is Attacker, Clone and Skywalker Rebellion. Jar Jar is by no means the worst thing in the film. Radical actors are bad at watching films that they don't like. It's a bit unpopular and doesn't suit anyone, and Anakin's point of view is that the beach is by far the most important. The hottest thing out of the whole series is the fucking beach. I would rather not take a picture with Can't Bite in the middle and not even next to Goth. Celebrate is better than Jonah Boo, much better. Only those who've seen Frozen do not know if they can happen again. More people have sprung up over the past decade because of some of the sequel's content is an overview of real people without paying. You don't even need to explain further, because you know exactly what I am talking about. I'm not going to waste time thinking about these ideal stars, they shouldn't waste my breath. I feel sorry for those who hate The Last Jedi, but their motives have nothing to do with theirs. You shouldn't use movie hobbies to determine the opinions of others besides humans, and no one deserves a dirty bastard. This album and LEGO Star Wars were recorded before I burned out. I started this show in just 2 months. Now let's talk about the game, be it offensive or scanty. If it is not saved, you can open the search directly from the title screen. The first stage is Rescue Aid. I played the role of Anakin Skywalker in a separatist pilot seminar to rescue Prime Minister Palpatine. When the game was explaining the controls, I was attacked by combat robots. There are light and hard seizures that can be used in different combinations and in different order. Obi-Wan is, of course, doing his best to reach out to most of them right now. You can also use Force to push enemies and objects. After several kills, a super fighting robot appeared. Here the game will show you how to quit smoking. I found the first item, back to tank, to restore health. Obi-Wan, of course, killed everything first. Then you need to wait for R2-D2 to open the path and protect it from other robots. As with returning to the 2 towers, when defeating an enemy, evaluate each kill point based on the number of stripes around the character's icon. This will fill the experience bar below. The higher the level, the more crowded it gets. After R2 entered orbit, it crossed to the other side. I killed the street on the right before it was filled with rubble. There is a sign on the floor that forcibly helps Obi-Wan move. Then I went to the right and killed the robot on the way. Then I crossed another lane, turned off R2 and removed the sign. The deal was closed, but Anakin intervened after the ride because there was a switch at the nearest gate. He pointed to the console, but the battle robots surrounded me. Behind one of the pillars I discovered one of 3 secrets full of power meters, Force Boost. When they died, they used the console so R2 could start working. However, when he stumbled upon a super combat robot, he and Obi-Wan were eventually attacked. As they left, a sign appeared in front of me and rushed to help Obi-Wan. It also involves the use of leaps and bounds to achieve specific sniper targets. I found a secret guardian of crystals in the corner. This will automatically fill in the column so that you can automatically acquire certain skills. R2 lowered his shield so that Anakin and Obi-Wan could move forward, but R2 retreated. The level is over for now. As you progress through this level, you increase the access speed and fill the experience bar. Each level has a certain experience that can be completed after filling the histogram, so you have to go through the remaining levels later. I missed a secret too. I can use my experience to improve my skills. I decided to use my experience for a dash attack, but it was not enough to meet the standard. Objective 2, Explosive Development. At this level he plays Obi-Wan Kenobi. Obi-Wan and Anakin were surrounded by robots and sandwiched between shields, so they walked through the ground. Next up are 2 super fighting robots. Here the game shows how 2 attack buttons are used at the same time. This is enough for the robot to shock, break off his limbs, and then break his head. Then leave a few more pairs. Another great way to surprise them is to drive them into energy behind them. After completing all the operations, you can go to the place where the usual combat robot is located. Some robots were caught as well. Aside from animation, I have to say that there is no difference between Obi-Wan and Anakin. By the time we get to the other end, we'll be caught in a lot of electricity, so I'll have to use Sabra to destroy the generator that created it. Then I had to repeat the action in another corridor. After using it with the next robot, I used the console and finally created another gateway. On the podium I had to use a saber to drive safely through the generator. Then the 2 of them just walked through the closed door. There is a tower above the door of the next room. You can hold your hat and transmit the shockwave flame to your right groin. After the destruction of the tower, a door opens. I've used a podium in the next room, but above all there is a secret to getting a podium right that can increase my maximum strength. The blue bar is above. At the end of another alley, robots come out. Then I had to forcefully push the bridge away from the ceiling and then let Anakin cross the bridge. He then removed it and Obi-Wan was able to get through. After editing the robot I have to use a saber plunge. This will allow the lightsaber to stick to the door and rotate until it dissolves. I killed all the robots here and found a secret under the ceiling. This increases Obi-Wan's maximum health. Then I broke the pipe and opened the door. This led me to another door that was shattered by the sword. The first one in the next room was on the podium, so I had to jump into the next room. Baz Droid is stuck in a naughty skin scene. They are easy to kill. Then I ran onto another podium and took a couple of podiums. I destroyed another generator and finally made it to the gate. Both must be activated with force in order for them to slide. In the next room there is another tower, next to it is a terminal, and behind it is another tower that can be destroyed in another adjacent terminal. The next room has several podiums filled with robots. As always, the same goes for battle robots, robotic invaders and active robots. On the way, my third secret is another tank hidden in another improved life. Finally, there is another terminal where you can use multiple power generating devices for your performances, so more sabers, and in the end they jumped here and began to move forward. To be honest, it's simple. Few of the repeating corridors are in light colours. I missed a secret. After completing this level, you will unlock 5 concept art pictures and a challenging mission, the cruise ship loading port. I will talk about this later. I brought my experience to Obi-Wan's swift attack. When I reached level 2, I almost completed his territorial violations column. Task 3, Danger of the Elevator. In the next levels we will return to Anakin. This level starts with a robot outside the elevator. I want to surprise you. This is a wonderful legend for you. No's friend Gunley said that when I saw the Phantom Menace when I was 7, I thought it was called a robot machine. When I was 7, they rode like wheels, so I have no doubt. If R2 gets the elevator up, I'll have to use a saber plunge to burn down the door. It is slightly different from the first door. Instead of opening the door, I opened the door. Going inside, Baz Droid broke through the ceiling and fell inside. They were being treated and Anakin jumped on top and attached the robot. Upon completion, Anakin moved on to the next one, replacing it with a flying robot. They had their own little shields, but nothing special. With the arrival of the grabber, Obi-Wan interrupted me and hurried. Then, while Droidka was waiting for him outside, his elevator stopped. Before I can help him, I must lift the robot. You can use soldier or normal attacks to defeat the squad. After killing enough people, Anakin blocked the elevator with a docked relic robot and asked R2 to open Obi-Wan's left door and then cross it. After I removed the destroyer and dismounted, a thunder shield opened before me. To enter the room with Baz Droid, the door on the right must be burned. This is where the secrets hidden under the water tank can maximise your health. Then you need to turn off the screen through the console. The tower descends in front of the gate and must be processed before leaving. Before leaving Obi-Wan, he was shot down by an invading robot. I took it out, Obi-Wan urged me to ignore it and go to the elevator. They got out of the car right after the mission, much shorter than Task 2, but seems to be faster. When you complete this level, 2 other concept works will be unlocked. In my experience, you could end up increasing Anakin's attack to level 2, and then doing the same with his AoE attack. The last point almost filled his critical route of attack. Objective 4 refers to the point of payment. This is a fight with Earl Dooku. Since Dooku behaved just like me, I was trapped and knew the right time to punish him. You can also get stuck and break the button to win and succeed. Spamming doesn't work because you can get caught and thrown hard. After reaching about 6/5 health, an animated scene appeared covering the part where Dooku knocked Obi-Wan out of the battle. There is not enough free space on the stairs to move safely, so we tried to climb the stairs, but the width from left to right is even wider. On the left is a secret of one of the computers that can maximise performance. After being kicked out for a while, there was another scene. The fighting has turned into a new area and Dooku is supported by several Super War robots. Thus, the game teaches Dooku how to kill me in time with lightning force by holding the hard attack button and attacking with push force. Anakin has the most interesting death scream. The next time you return to Step 3, you will feel better than the last time. I will love it when you fight with 2 super fighting robots shooting lasers at you, but that did not stop me from being beaten and dying. You can use the Force to throw a box of explosives in your face, it's always good. If you bring the robot to the centre and record the scene, another secret of the mission will appear on the left. This is the greatest improvement in health. They can fully support your health, which is very beneficial. We still lose 3/4, endless electricity and lightning. When Dooku lost 3/4 of his strength, the battle returned to Palpatine. So far, Dooku has had complete control over the fight, but he still seems to be afraid of me. If he disappoints me, I can foresee that this fear is unfounded, as Palpatine said. This is my 4th time going to the 3rd level. On the 5th try, half of my health reached the final stage. Dooku didn't last long this time, and Anakin stabbed him with a knife. I think if he gets angry, his age will increase. Since the game was released a week or 2 before the movie's release, its position in the movie was destroyed. In the multiplayer phase, you unlocked the main courtyard and the upper balcony between Count Dooku and the throne in multiplayer mode. I increased my critical strike to level 2 based on my own experience, and put the rest into power healing. Task 5 is not completed, and describes the escape from the ship. After the screening of the film, I saw Palpatine, Anakin and the cat Obi-Wan get out of one of the elevators. Anakin was separated from the rest by the ray shield, so Obi-Wan agreed that he and Palpatine would find another way to meet Anakin on the other side. Now I fight with 2 shields and a robot. After all the enemies were killed, an external blast knocked out one of the shields. After killing the robots, they went through the door next to the shield and cut the cables that fed them. Behind the shield is a turret that cannot reflect fire, but can throw tanks at it. After rotating the robot, I need to take a close look at the enclosure next to the placement screen on the right and unplug the power cord. R2-D2 was cornered by a super combat robot, but drilled a hole in the ship and was pulled into space. To avoid the same situation as with Anakin and R2, the protective cover opens in time. Now I need to turn left, where the sign disappears and leads into a destroyed corridor. There's a secret in the box. Saber Klitzel filled my penalty area for murder. You can take down another tower, hang it on the shield next to it, and then take out the robot, but you can kill experienced assassins. When I was exhausted, I opened the left door and made a second secret to maximise my strength. Then cut the sheath next to the shield and then cut the wire. Nearby is a sign for an open door. The room is filled with electricity and needs to be wiped down to send the cable back and remove the protective layer. The next sign has no wires, and on the other side is Obi-Wan. R2 tried to erase it. I had to protect him from towers and some robots. The shield fell instantly, found Obi-Wan and finished off the rest of the robot. Another ray shield blocked R2 development. During the fire, the pilot called them. Fortunately, we are next to the aviary. I killed all the robots inside and opened the door in the upper left corner. This is the 3rd secret. After maximising my health, I jumped into the tower. This made me the first person, and together we had to disassemble a large expert ship. There are only 3 segments of the target audience, so it will take very little time. After that, they returned to R2 in time and took part in several ray shields in the film itself. Thanks to my teacher, I really went through this level of experience. I also discovered 3 secrets so that I don't have to return to this level in the future. Unlock 3 concept art images, increase Anakin's healing ability to level 2, and increase the handle to level 2 for more combinations. The rest is used for jumping attacks. Task 6, the General's Right Hand. After being taken to General Grievous and released, I had to fight Grievous's bodyguards who were lost and obeyed. The first thing I want to do is go through the door and destroy the computer. The one on the right shows the most top secret performance gains. Bodyguard turns are fun, but just like a robot hitting the floor, you can stop it and punish it. Killing the second, his torso managed to grab my leg and deliver the final blow. Another climbed to the ceiling but did nothing before cutting it in half. Another person slipped out at the bottom of the screen and continued for a long time, effectively dodging the road and fighting. After 4 of them were removed, the ship began to sink. I end up fighting the robot by the window. Greedy guards stand behind them. The shockwave from the nearby explosion reshaped the ship again, but Grievous and hundreds of his bodyguards survived, and some of the invading droids survived. On the right, I destroyed another computer with this secret level, maximum health. Shortly after killing the rest of the robot, Grevia shouted an empty threat on the screen. Back to the camera, the ship moved to the right. It's a quick process. Winning this mission will unlock 4 concept images and challenges for the cruiser corridor. I used my experience to improve Anakin's high jump attack to level 2 and put a small portion of it into the push. Task 7 brought me back to Obi-Wan's role in the Utapau investigation. After falling to the ground in the movie Obi-Wan, he climbed to the edge of the building. He believes that the best way to hide is to open up his powerful and shiny weapon. Before everyone suddenly noticed and tried to kick me off the field, I took part in the second robot war. I moved my first left hand to the door blocked by the radiation shielding, but to solve this problem I threw my lightsaber on the wire and discovered the first secret, the largest increase in strength. Then I got to the end of the truck where I needed to take care of the tower. When he disappeared, modern combat robots crossed the railing. I think he was modernised and killed before doing anything. The other 2 people showed up most of the time, barely stopping and fighting. Then another person entered through the open door. When he was killed, I went through the open door and entered another corridor, which looked almost the same as the first corridor. Enough to give me a tank of water for a lot of robots to feed with shit. This man said that I once hit him, jumped off the gun and was killed. Eventually I jumped onto a higher alley and Baz Droid returned. Then the robot exited the elevator through the terminal and waited for me. This allowed me to cross another podium. The ventilation there caught fire and prevented the advance. Cut the cable and continue. There is a terminal at the other end that opens another lift to the previous terminal, and you can jump to another elevator. There are some vents, but first I need to deal with the flying robot. Then it will take some time to go through the first 2 holes, cut the cable and close the remaining holes. Before Obi-Wan told me to destroy it, I destroyed the next tower. When the other robot left, I entered through the back door. No more captured robots or large fighting robots. In the middle of the back wall you can directly enter the following secret to maximise health. Then I went through another door and entered another platform, but they were shot down by a cannon. I don't know how to fight, so I'm hiding. The game tells you that you can use speed by creating 2 traps in the direction you want to move. It's simple, we are out of the reach of the gun. Before moving on to the next corner, you need to cut the wire that uses the lightning rod to find a large Bacta vest that can be completely cured. There is another cannon in the next corner, which I must vigorously accelerate, then chase my cannon so I can jump to a higher level. So I increased my speed and went back to the other side with the first cannon. Looking back at this point, I really hate the Star Wars score in the game. I know how nice it is to add movie soundtracks to games, but I tend to hear them in every game. Repeat the same soundtrack over and over. Again, not everyone can play video games. Anyone who has spent a lot of time with Java Sandcrawler in LEGO Star Wars 2 knew exactly what I was thinking. So my favourite Star Wars clip was playing when Luke finally fought for Vader in Return of the Jedi, about a minute, and Victory Day. Remind me that this is better than Yub-Nub. I used a terminal that could reach the second cannon and use that to destroy the shield generator. During this time I will also get free experience in order to get more experience. After removing the protective cover, go through the door behind the protective cover. Obi-Wan jumped to his feet and prepared to return to stealth mode, but the club robot rose from below. If Obi-Wan is close to the secret, Obi-Wan will leave later, prompting his request. Instead, however, he said that the conquering robots were brutal. I pointed out that due to the fact that this line was done in time, I missed the secret because no one wanted to find it. In order to harm the robot crab, I had to grab the bucket, go upstairs and open it when the guard fell. I just repeat this very quickly until he dies, which is much better than Dooku. When he fell, Obi-Wan jumped up and slid back. Okay. Well, he reached 7 levels and eventually changed the status quo. The boring grey-blue colours of the spaceship do not work well in licensed PS2 games. I used my experience to raise the attack level in the Obi-Wan area to level 2, then he launched a powerful attack and rebuilt his army. The remains turned into a jumping crime. Task 8, Arrival of the Cavalry. The first is Obi-Wan's goal of making General Grievous's favourite line, "Everyone is good," but I can't show it because I filmed it. As in the 6th mission, a closed room full of enemies, I started out as a brutal bodyguard who continued to help combat robots. As with tanks, there are things that can explode, some generators can be damaged. After Obi-Wan killed enough of his bodyguards, he got bored and jumped to new heights. Many robots came, but the army he cloned hit my robot. Now I'm in another confined space to fight and catch robots. The cloned army continued to infiltrate, but they continued to be attacked and killed in front of the captured robot. Destroy the computer at the top of the area to create the secret saber crystal. This gave me a lot of experience. At this point I have to use recovery to survive. As expected, this will quickly deplete your food and slowly replenish your health. A few minutes later, another scene occurred. Obi-Wan asked Commander Cody to go after General Grievous, but he was attacked. My next goal is to destroy the cannon fired at him. There are 2 leaps of strength in this field. I started off on the left, closed the shield on the terminal and destroyed the generator that was powering the cannon on the left. Before using the right cannon, I realised that there really is no time limit and robots can be created indefinitely. Hence, it will take some time to gain experience before jumping in and stopping another cannon. When they fall, the robot activates emergency protection and prevents the clone from enlarging. So Obi-Wan jumped to a new floor and closed. Unfortunately, a bodyguard is waiting for him. One thing I didn't mention is that bodyguards speak fully, more chatty, than in movie chats. They talk about their physical benefits in Doctor Who, like people on the internet. In the lower right corner you can destroy the computer and get another secret to protect your health as much as possible. After the death of the bodyguard, the other robots continue to move forward, so I fully filled the experience bar before destroying the shield generator. Destroying the generator opens the door to another room and exposes 2 towers. When you shoot a tower, a signal is generated so that you can force the rest of the generator to be destroyed. It hasn't been completed since the arrival of yet another club robot. It's a little tricky due to the shockwave firing of the combat robot. I forgot how I killed the last level, so I can see if I slept between the 2 levels. Here I will go to the end. There is no strategy, it will take forever. Eventually, Obi-Wan received a call from Cody and said that he was addicted to Grievous and wanted to chase him on the boat. When I finished the rubric of experience, I did not have all the secrets, so I will have to repeat this level in the future. Received 2 concept artworks and General's provocative security mission. Thanks to this experience, I was able to reach Obi-Wan's jump attack level 2, grapple level 2 and power grab level 2. The rest of the points I used for throwing swords. Objective 9, Overcome Grief. At the end of the last level, Obi-Wan was seen jumping on a boat, but the video reminded him of lizards. I don't remember his name. Since I played this movie before it was released, my ass has always been confused. It's like a boss fight for Count Dooku, a duel. I have to act smart, dodge, stop, and take this opportunity to punish Grievous. But everything after the word intelligence made me lose and was sacrificed before I could even take a tenth of his health. It will be better next time. Taking a fifth of his life can bring the struggle down to a lower platform. First, I threw as much as I could at him so he could inflict as much damage on him as possible before getting close to him. In addition to using a lightsaber, Grievous kills a shockwave and shoots at you. I think this should make up for his inability to police. My condition is much better and his health takes about half the time. A burning fighter jet crashed nearby and Grievous manages to escape into a cave. My workspace is getting smaller and smaller, so I will work more in Grievous. You can find the secret to increasing the maximum power from the gravel on the right. If you catch Grievous, they will also be great pro fighters for whatever reason. To restore his health, he punched Obi-Wan in the face and then escaped from the cave. He will also drop a bomb to make the cave fall. Obi-Wan climbed very well and tried to escape. Here Grievous chose 4 lightsabers. Before he could do anything, a tank exploded behind his head. So Grievous leans in and starts some kind of attack, but I'm not going to give him a chance to do that attack. He also spun all the lightsabers on his body. This can do a lot of damage. The attack he launched is actually a literal accusation, and if you interrupt him after starting the attack, he will be disappointed. Unfortunately, I was very close, but he disappointed me and everywhere attracted me. I rediscovered another secret that I missed. In the second step, the object on the right hides the integrity update. This time we entered the final phase of health. However, with repeated spin attacks, this advantage disappeared. But I did it. I hit Grievous, Obi-Wan killed him and stabbed him in the heart. It's a decent crime, so I only got half the experience points. This is why I've written This is why I have written many books. A common problem in multiplayer games. The mission is 2 multiplayer arenas and the challenge game is 2 Brave Brown arenas. My experience turned into saber throwing and reached level 2. Give the rest to Stanley. Rethinking of Anakin's 10th mission, The Dark Side of Power. When we were working on these Obi-Wan levels, a subgraph appeared between Anakin and Palpatine, and we had already finished work on Palpatine in Mace Windu. In addition to playing games, Anakin also fenced with Windu instead of cutting his hand. Contrary to what the Jedi believed, Anakin kept looking for a way to kill him, and then the Coalition forces began to scatter Windu all over the place. Having figured out how to actually win the battle, the first thing I did was to transfer all the furniture to Windu. Windu loves to use his intellect to make me dizzy and then do combos. After Windu did enough damage, a window opened in the second phase. Windu tried to sensationalise Anakin, then kicked him out and chased after him. There's room for a fight here, but as always, the first thing to do is throw as best you can at him and even appear in front of me one day. By the time Windu spent most of his life combing, I was almost dying, but escaped a little, healed, received serious injuries and moved on to the next stage. When Windu said he was having sex and tried to kill him, Anakin didn't like it, but Windu jumped as low as possible. I will not be long, it is not good for me. I'll be better next time. It should also be noted that Windu can also use power repair on its own. He killed me too. Next time I will die in the second stage. He returned for good, like Windu killed Anakin, then I died again in third place. We will take this step next time. Anakin shot Windu, but they both found Palpatine looking out the window. Windu knocked Anakin off his feet and jumped on Palpatine, but Anakin got up and tried everything. I managed to catch him around the corner and kill him, but he killed me in one fell swoop. The next time I have a secret, it will be another health promotion event, where all the items in the room will be destroyed in the final stage. It helps a lot as the role of the additives made me more radical with the Windu diet, so I added them. Anakin kept saying killing is not a Jedi action during the mission, but he deliberately stabbed Windu with a knife and threw him out the window before he died. There is a ball in the game and you can see it in the What Have I Done play. This sounds like a willful crime, not a terrible premeditated decision. Again, this is a decent crime, so experience points are only half full. I missed a secret too. In this multiplayer mission, you unlocked 2 concept art, Mace Windu, a multiplayer game and 2 arenas. I upgraded Anakin's troops to level 2 and gave the rest to the lightning troops. Now he's gone to the dark side and he has a new photo. Problem 11, the hunt begins. This archive article focuses on the attack on the Jedi Temple. Anakin wants to control the signal, but everyone's favourite, remember the clone character, remember her? Pulled out his lightsaber and stopped them. This punishes them. All the other Jedi Knights descended to stop Anakin, so if you really want a game that can be 14 to 15 years old, this is possible. I still have the power of lightning. I've never seen Anakin in a movie before, but I don't care. After the Padawan killed the cargo, he escaped and closed the door with a lightning shield. Then I began to destroy all parts of the archive in which the secret could be found. Thus, the biggest performance gain can be seen in the upper right corner. After graduation, jumped to the next level and stabbed the teen in the throat. I'm disappointed for the first time because at 12 years old I have not seen this level in films. But that doesn't make sense for someone who tastes better. If Anakin sets fire to the sword in a scene where small children are unable to move, a small retreat will be more effective. After clearing all memory, I cut the cable through the shield through the wall, killed the Jedi who opened the shield, and tampered with the connectors to remove the shield from its socket. Several Padawans were killed and Anakin closed the door. In the next room I met a new Jedi Knight. His acrobatics were so strong that he grabbed his back. It does not take a lot of time, there is some decline. Obviously recapturing them makes them Jedi snipers. On the left is the next secret health update. My next action is to forcefully lift the statue, cut it out, and then throw it at the door to open it. The door to the room made me commit murder. The room had a closed window, so I had to go through another door, where I was stopped by a tall man with a double-edged lightsaber. The third Brutus Jedi did nothing until I killed him. The second threw back my head. His hair melted. There is a terminal in the next room that I want to go to. The terminal is protected by 2 towers. I take it out and use the terminal to unlock the door. Several Jedi Knights have returned, but nothing special. Please go through the door that leads to the street. Here you can take them out and kill the Jedi Knights. There is still a tower, but saber throwing is responsible for this. Destroying both will create another secret, the Sword Crystal. When I finally got there, several clones fell and opened the door. Some savages are waiting for me there. The tower that had killed them collapsed and 2 more barbarians appeared from behind. After Anakin was killed, he entered the hangar. I grabbed a few Jedi figures from the start and then put a box of secrets next to the entrance that can maximise my health. My next goal is to hijack the cannon and defeat the budding Jedi fighter. Do not overheat the barrel with continuous heat. Overheating takes longer. Filming Star Wars will soon make the killer so happy that there is a lot of experience to be gained here. After a few shots were fired, the mission was completed and the clones notified Anakin that they had arrived at the control room. There, Anakin returned to the temple so that all Jedi could be ambushed and killed. The clone informed Anakin that another Jedi had passed their protection. Anakin sensed that it was Shin Drarigu. I tried to fill in the experience bar, but I missed the secret. If you win the mission, 7 concept artworks will unlock and you will be able to complete the landmark Jedi Strikes Back mission. I upgraded Force Lightning to level 2 and then improved Saber Throw and Force Grasp. The rest is Swift Attacks. Task 12, the last lesson. Anakin was looking for Sera Seto, a character created for the game. First thing I want to do is feed them. So far this isn't much different from other one-on-one boss fights I've had. The main difference is that there are no lightning bolts or weapons, just normal forces like thrust. And I'm better off, otherwise she won't be as angry as Dooku or Grievous. She took half of their health and was distracted to flee. Anakin chases them into a room adorned with a hologram, possibly a photograph of another Jedi, camped at 66. After the 3 holograms were destroyed, the first secret was born in the centre of the room. This is a sword crystal. Luckily I grabbed Sera in the corner and stripped her of her remaining health before dying in the murder of Masterful. The battle continued in the next room, but when Anakin pushed Sera under the column, the battle ended in time and Shin Drarig appeared. This is why Sera is lighter than Dooku and Grievous. In this mission, we have 2 duels in a row. This new arena gives me many opportunities to shorten the time I spend here. When all the rooms are destroyed, the second secret of improving health appears in the centre. I really need this supplement. He's slightly stronger than Sera, but not much. When the life was cut in half, Drag threw Anakin out the window where the battle was taking place. At this point, she almost always stopped and tried to heal her power, but I could only stop her. When he lost his health, he managed to defeat Anakin, but when he finished, Anakin dropped his sword, let it dangle a bit, then pulled it out and left Drarigus' body. One of the impressive and wise victories was that I collected all the experience points and revealed 2 secrets, so that I did not have to repeat this task. Unlock 6 concept art in multiplayer mode and 2 additional multiplayer levels, Shin Dralig and Sera Keto. The sprint and jump attack has reached level 3 and can be fought most of the time. In Mission 13, Attack of the Clones will return you to Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan began to comply with Order 66 while he was dealing with robots in Utapau. He told several clones to act, but they told him he would not obey his orders and started shooting at him. I like 3 programming questions that contradict each other. I told Obi-Wan about the show against her and asked her to laugh. I said that they cannot kill him in a few seconds. After spending some time deleting the clone, I stopped Ray Shield from the console, but now I'm dealing with robots. I threw a lot of tanks there. He opened the door from the line-in. With this camera you can fight clones and robots at the same time. The door at the back of the room was opened by a jockey clone. They shot me and attacked me. Lock your legs and keep walking. Each process takes time. Entering through the open door, they noticed that the street in front of them was littered with rubble, but that doesn't matter because cloning will blow it up too. Here I am fighting against the first group of flaming clone troopers. They got old, stole a little, hit from a flamethrower. I also kill easily. During the fight I also arranged some secret health junkies along the right wall. After killing everyone, these markers allowed me to use my power to get rid of the debris. She is followed by another walking clone. After he was killed, I had to jump up. I pulled out a waiting firefighter and walked in from a nearby house. The clone immediately looked at me and aimed the clone of the rocket launcher at me from a long distance. There are robots on the bridge. All I had to do was go through the other side, through the skin, close the radiation screen at the entrance, and then go through the other side. This is not easy as the clone successfully passed it on to me. After healing, use the console to open the opposite door. The next room is full of towers, robots, and custom cables. After clearing most of the weapons, I turned to face the upper right corner and detonated the barrel of my pistol for the biggest secret army upgrade. After disconnecting all cables, you can enter the terminal to open the desired door. The bridge that led to it was destroyed by the cloned weapon. Let's talk about the boss first. Insert anything that can put pressure on him, thus there will be a clone trooper on the bridge. An armed helicopter not only has the traditional laser launch capability, but can also launch missiles. The tank ran out and I dropped my sword, but suddenly, whoever killed her, I committed suicide. Fortunately a cannon stopped me. Next time I'll almost never delete it. When it was set on fire, Obi-Wan used it to jump over cracks in the bridge. This is a problem when you have a tower at once and you are very sick. I slowly fell into a corner, waiting for reinforcements, and I ran out of heals. The next secret I pulled out was the turret and tank in the upper left corner. This is a sword crystal. I stepped over the edge of the door and finally entered a room illuminated by a pair of lightning and droid signs. I walked through the wall, removed the shield, and then pulled out the clones that were fighting for the robot. From there, Obi-Wan had only to place it in the moving tank and remove the cannon from it. Before killing the clones, I'll try to leave a little experience. When they disappeared, I took out the second cannon. Obi-Wan then jumped out of the tank and ran to his spaceship to escape Earth. Likewise, the streak is not complete. I missed a secret too. Opened 8 concept art pieces and used experience to upgrade Power Stun and Power Push to level 2. We are very close to critical hit. Return to Anakin and complete Mission 14, Kill Mustafa. Upon reaching Mustafa, Anakin's outer separatists turned to their leader. Anakin told them that he received a letter from the dark side. It turned out that this was her execution. I must have thought he was smart and worked hard throughout the trip. In this version of the event, his names are Nut Gunray and Rune Harko. After this movie didn't offend all the fans, I forgot to watch and noticed that they were betrayed before the movie. They send guards to Anakin and the smaller one. For some reason, I'm still pondering his name to make sure his whereabouts are safe. Naumid's guards thought their little stun stick would stop me. When I killed her, I discovered my first secret in a barrel. This is the biggest performance gain. I use the Force to move the progress blocking platform and block it before cutting through the door inward. The next corridor looks more like Nimi, and there is nothing special about the robot. He uses the terminal and finally opens a door. Who made the great man wear heavy armour on a lava planet? It is not right. I killed him to save him from pain. However, this part is completely unexpected. Before jumping to the other bridge, enemies appeared, and I also killed them. There are a couple of reinforcements and I'll take care of those reinforcements. I entered through the closed door behind him, cleared the pathway and opened the door next door. This creates another bridge with the same enemies, some of which float in the background on the platform. On the other end are robots and towers on the other bridge. You must first erase everything and then make it bounce. I entered the room and moved the magma weapon over the console to avoid reaching the bridge in front of me. As I moved on, some silent weapon defeated another magma weapon and again blocked my path. I killed them and missed them. I pulled out the robot, the guard and the tower, jumped to the other side of the cannon, pulled the robot out of there and fought on the left side of the road. I went back into the hole, then turned and threw open the door. I cleared another corridor, opened the door and the animals came out. Cut the wire through this door to eliminate the force field on the right. At the beginning of the next card game there are 3 boxes, one of which contains a secret sword crystal. Having crossed the bridge I gained a lot of experience. I cut 2 cables and opened the door where brute force did not last long. I used one terminal to open the next door and then used another terminal to get to the next platform. To move forward, Saber must pull on the cable to open the terminal that raises the platform. You have to deal with a lot of guards and barbarians. When everything was killed, Anakin burst into tears and jumped to a higher level. I went back through Anakin's door and discovered a secret health promotion measure. Several Nimis and droids, followed by Anakin, reached the Separatist leader. He opened the door and hit Little Poggle. The rest of the leaders ran into another room full of guards. Anakin's tears killed everyone and opened the door for the chief. Nut Gunray had a chance to escape. He locked the door behind him and left the rest to Anakin. The next step is to hunt down and sacrifice the helpless leaders. In this version, Harko, the royal rune from Star Wars, won the moment Gang Rui was killed while begging. Gunray did not try to escape, but tried to kill Anakin himself with rockets and lasers. Of course, I'll throw everything on his boat and use my lightsaber, but he doesn't know how to dodge, so a laser hitting him will kill him. The start of the next attempt will be better and I won't miss many free throws at the start. Before relying on Saber Throw and Power Lightning, his health has 2/3, but I tried to kill him, so I was still dead. The third time it was sad. I do not feel well. Gunray predicted that there would be a 4th escape and raised the laser for a fatal blow. I killed him on the 6th try and then he killed me. This happened several times. Only after the 13th attempt, to deny you, I finally saw Gunray's ship on the ship, fell into the lava and exploded. Anakin left and the mission ended abruptly. The experiment is almost complete, but there are no 2 secrets. Unlocked 11 concept art and Mustafa's Loves Challenge team. In my experience, trophies, AoE attack, criticism and unit cell are all tier 3. The rest will be over soon. Mission 15, Temple Trail, returns to Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan and Yoda go to the Jedi Temple and avoid the signal to bring the other Jedi back. After about 2 minutes, Yoda finally realised that he knew about the existence of the clone. Oh, that's it.
I preferred it when the clones were our allies.
I like it the most as everyone I know is not dead. This is the last of 2 non-living members of the group surrounded by people who fought me a few hours ago, yes. Do you want? There are no corpses of children, you know what I mean? That's why I went to a higher level and kept fighting. In fact, there are other ways I can help by killing the random telephone pole that gives me the bridge after killing the clone. If he doesn't, I'll get confused. When I was walking around Simbashi, the first diamond I destroyed gave me a secret crystal. It was a good experience filled with regular clone troopers and glowing soldiers. After each clone was killed, Obi-Wan and Yoda decided to take various steps to disperse the clones. Then Obi-Wan jumped to the ceiling and went into another room. I also have to kill Kronbo. After their death, you will see an icon suggesting to move on to another part of the meeting with Yoda. I found another secret sword crystal in the upper left corner to fight the next group of clones. Then you must help Yoda transfer more coins. Later in the first bucket was my next secret to improving my health. I went around and opened the door to open the folder. They found, I remember her in the body of Attack of the Clones. Obi-Wan and Yoda wanted to know what caused this. My next goal is to go further and break the security of the library, help Yoda get rid of late fees and imagine that those who have money can buy it for life. If I kill her, I can reach new heights. Cut out a panel on the left side of the floor to cover the radiation shield covering the door on the other side of the floor. Obi-Wan noticed that there was a secret nearby, but I could not find it and opened the door wider. There are several clones that need to be smashed, and throughout the room I have discovered another healthy and secret growth. To do this, I need to use a cannon to lower the clone cannon. After several blows, Obi-Wan plunged into the temple. He was stopped by a new enemy assassin clone. They struggle with the bracelet, grow in place, and leave a secondary image. They are not bad, and like other enemies that sabotage a lot, they can be replaced with dodging. After they died, he went to the Obi-Wan movie and discovered that it was Anakin. I missed 2 secrets but came across this experience. Unlock 3 kinds of concept art and don't challenge big and small problems. The maximum attack power for heavy, jump, flip and shock attacks is free and other attacks enter the attack area. It's time to fight Anakin on Mission 16, Friendship in Flame. He will skip all scenes and fight Padme directly. Anakin has no special boss skills, he only behaves like a playable character. Much of the game's soundtrack is taken from episodes 1 and 2, and the score for Revenge of the Sith was not finalised during development. So now is a good time. Therefore, the beginning of this battle is a duel of fate and not a battle of heroes. After Obi-Wan tore off Anakin a bit, he tried to argue with him. Instead, Anakin gripped him tightly. One advantage is that you can get lost without risking finding any secrets. The downside is that health cannot completely cure me. The fight intensified and Anakin defeated Obi-Wan and closed his shield. Obi-Wan then decided to leave the room slowly, and Anakin followed him. This led to the outer bridge. What makes this fight more difficult than the others is that you first need to put a small amount of explosives in Anakin's face. Obi-Wan stepped over to Anakin to another platform, but Obi-Wan said that he was not really ready to become a parent, but he was not going to give in to Anakin. Anakin's reaction was to kill me in seconds. The next time I returned to the 4th station, I was instantly killed. Next time I'll be healthy again. Fortunately, this section has an explosive box that can be used to attack Anakin. The damage increased slightly and the battle entered a narrow bridge.
What's the matter, Anakin? Afraid? Stand down!
Yes, tease him and ask him to show it. A good idea. After the damage, the bridge collapsed and the entire lava cascade turned into a small platform. This is the 6th and final step. Obi-Wan appears to have died of a heart attack in the duo. What happened? By the way, there is no checkpoint for this mission. On the 4th try, I died in the 5th stage. On the 5th try, the attack eventually turned his health into bland food. Obi-Wan chose a spot he dreamed of, comparing it to the boss, and cut off Anakin's limbs. He didn't say anything to her, just took his lightsaber and walked quietly. Then I removed the scary part and filmed the sale video on the table, so if you play this movie in the same way as before watching, you will still be shocked. You can also see Obi-Wan transporting Luke to Lazarus. Padme never appeared in the game, so as not to destroy everything that happened to him. Unlocked 2 Mustafar arenas for multiplayer games and updated the area attack to level 3. The rest joined the army to take care of it. Then I scored points, but as always, this is not the end. Due to the lack of privacy and experience, I am not just talking about the resumption of missions. Unlock Mission 7, Revenge of the Sith. This is a boss fight I just finished, but I am like Anakin fighting Obi-Wan. It's a good guess, but I can't say more about this fight. The same, but I am using Lightning Force. I took off my juggling suit and hit Obi-Wan about 10 times. Obi-Wan took command, but Anakin landed behind him and stabbed him in the chest, so he had to forget about other tactics and sit there. Anakin hit his body with lava and the dark side greeted him. He was a good guy and gave Anakin his first red sword. Chief Anakin accompanied him and said that he was the sole owner of the Milky Way. These clones did nothing after tracking down these things, but did they want to deal with someone first who killed their seemingly invincible host? I have unlocked many games, Darth Vader and Ben Kenobi, multiplayer, Episode 4 of Mustafar's Other 2 Arenas, Death Star Missions New Hope and Summoning the Death Star. I have no experience with this task, so there is no need to repeat it. It's time to reveal the secrets and impressions that were missing at the previous level. Start with Assignment 1. I don't know how I missed the first secret, improved health on the right side after clearing debris with Obi-Wan. But I can only gain experience, it's about the power of lightning. In Mission 2, by jumping to the centre, the squad moves on and then returns to find the protection of the crystal. Likewise, a little experience can be used for therapeutic power. At the start of Mission 3, there were other hatches near the elevator doors. When the first flying robot was hanging in the upper half of the elevator, another secret was discovered. This is a sword crystal. I have no new experience. After you have mastered all the secrets of Missions 4 to 6, it's time to move on to Mission 7. When you get to the hint robot, go straight to the front of the screen and break the box to improve your health. The experience column was also filled. When heal strength reached level 3, I started pushing. While controlling the tower in Mission 8 on the left platform, I threw the lightsaber at the blue object above to improve my health. Then in the last zone, use the club robots to destroy the blue holes on either side of the arena to strengthen your army. Mission 10 destroyed all computers in the third part of a level and improved the troops. I also got the Assassin Mastery from Windu to improve my experience points. This will maximise power lightning. The rest switched to saber throwing. In Mission 11, after using the first Jedi Brute security terminal, we went back to the previous room and returned to the locked entrance to improve the energy. I also filled in the empirical value column and added it to saber throwing. In the 13th mission, in the last room the tank entered, the room with the radiation shielding, there was explosives that hit his health. I also filled in the experience column and added it to force push. In Mission 14 he had to return to Saber Crystal after reaching the point where the inner guard was blocking progress. After installing the magma, I had to slide the box on the other side of the cable to lock to close it and add strength. I also have an experience I missed that was up to standards. Enter the sword. The rest of the secrets are still the last two from Mission 15. The first secret of repetition is lost. Another person I didn't see on the second floor of the archive room had to collect the item at the exit to enter the crystal saver. The last secret is the first column at the beginning of the level. You must destroy this barrel to gain power. Before possession in the last two games, the level was automatic. The problem is that you need to restore the rest of the entire layer in order to maintain this state. But it's Anakin and Obi-Wan's health and the troops have reached their limit. Get some experience now. In this case you'll have enough combinations and hooks to avoid hitting the bar. It takes a lot of practice. I started on Mission 16 and successfully killed Anakin to reach the limit. Force thrust is maximised by forced exploration. The remaining small part is taken into account by an electric shock. If we resume task 1 we can do more, and saber throw is almost at its limit before we reach the goal. On the second try the bar was almost full and the saber throw finally reached its limit, the rest are forced to press. After 3 more tries I lost something. I learned a lot from Activity 2 but I still miss it. The Great Army is almost full but not enough. It took over 2 hours and several tries to get the final experience. This is the exact amount needed to get the most amazing power possible. I have resumed Mission 3 but just gaining experience. I found this and Problem 2 the most difficult. After making a few mistakes, I put it aside and moved on to Task 4. One thing to keep in mind in Mission 4 is that Dooku isn't the only assassin. There are some super fighting robots in level 3 as well, but I am still fighting. For some reason Dooku is the coolest boss in the game for me. This is why I tried to complete Mission 9 instead of fighting Grievous. We now know that one of the reasons for the award is the lack of photography. There is no record, so almost nothing is lost. Thought I was just commenting, so I don't think I need extra lenses to make up for my lack of experience. I was worried about the computer space and after filling in the probe field on the previous Obi-Wan level, I decided to update the dataset again. Thus, in Problems 4 and 9, no standard exit behaviour was recorded. But it was Obi-Wan's lost experience in Mission 9 that maximised his ultimate saber possession. Then I did the last experiment of Task 3 and inserted it into Force Grasp. Only through Task 6 will you get the maximum experience, allowing you to make the most of Anakin's power control function. Both characters are exhausted, but I still have compensation. Besides Yoda, there is also a multiplayer mode where you can choose any character in the game to wear the lightsaber. About this character, Darth Vader and Ben Kenobi, it's like a boss fight, but 2 players want to break the button and the rest of the dice die first. When 2 players choose the same character, they need to be careful. Obi-Wan and Anakin use stolen and unwashed versions in the main game, but there are things like Ben Kenobi lying upside down, a green lightsaber, Korn, or Darth Vader in light armour and a blue lightsaber. This is a multiplayer game created 3 years ago, so I don't want to say much to guess who the others are, I just want to keep going. There are these complex additional tasks. The first is the Guardian General. Here I play Master Grievous and face an endless army until the clone dies. It's a great reward, but I don't know why you can't play a multiplayer game. Very slow, lacking basic game functions, e.g. jumping. Next up is Pain During Surgery. This is where I ran into a group of clones, but after a while Obi-Wan joined the battle, so it wasn't endless. Then I killed him. Yes. After his death the game forgot to complete the level and Grievous stood there, waiting for the console to restart. The third is Mustafa Love Challenge. I play Anakin, I had to cross the lava platform while fighting robots and non-idiots at the same time. I just need to finish and it's done. Fourth, Size Doesn't Matter. After separating from Obi-Wan in Mission 15, he played Yoda and fought the clone troopers. I understand why Yoda cannot be played in multiplayer games. He is very young and the most stolen. Now I have not participated in all the competitions that Yoda could participate in, then why is he so unhappy with almost all the competitions I've used Yoda in? Consequently, the first 2 Star Wars LEGO and Soul Sword 4 can't do all this ridiculous crap for fun. Walking is still very slow and painful. I enjoy playing Yoda rather than seeking the elegance of Kingdom Hearts 2. Finally, the 4th episode of the Death Star. I play Darth Vader fighting old Obi-Wan. Of course you can do it here in a multiplayer game. Windows has a force lightning function that you can use without life. But yes, that's all. I defeated Obi-Wan and it was a fatal blow to him. This is Star Wars, Episode 3 Revenge of the Sith. It can be boring at times, but just like the other licensed hacker and slash games. This is far from the best Star Wars game, but definitely better than any other licensed movie game I've made, like The Two Towers. Victory Day is better than Yub Nubu.